Hello students and welcome back. Okay, so what we're going to be doing in this task is a little bit of coding practice to try to get you guys a little bit more familiar and comfortable with what's going on when you are coding. So that's what this exercise is. As you can see, I've got a Word document here which I opened up from your resources, and what you're going to be doing is trying to solve all these problems down here. But first of all, the first thing says begin with the video instructions. So I'm going to get you started, and if you guys can just do what I'm doing, and that's going to make it a lot easier for you. Okay, so we're going to be doing this in Excel using VBA. So let's get Excel open. Try to use your keyboard. It's always good practice to do that. And I've got a new blank workbook here. So because we're going to be writing code, if we don't save this correctly, then we're going to lose all our code. So the best thing to do is to save it straight away. So we'll go Control S to save. Make sure that this is where you need to choose the macro enabled workbook to keep your code. And we'll give it the name of coding practice and save. Okay, so we'll start straight away. We're going to start with some labels. I'm going to start in column B3, and our first label is going to be number A, and then we're going to go through to number B, and oops, that should have had a space. Yep. Okay, now we're going to go from step 1 through to step 10. So you can either type step 1 and step 2 all the way through right to step 10, but I'm just going to make it a little bit easier on myself and get the computer to do the work. So I'm going to use a formula and start off with the equals. Oops, I've got double quotes there, and I'm going to write step, and then I've got a blank space, and then and in over here C5 I'm going to put some numbers. So I think that'll work. Okay, so now we'll put some numbers. Number 1, you can see that's gone to step 1, and number 2, and then I'm going to use the magic of Excel to fill all of that down to number 10, and fill this down to number 10. So there we go, that's all done, except for the problem is we've got formulas in here and I need to convert those to values. So I'm going to copy them, I'm going to right click and paste values, and then that's got rid of all the formulas, and so now we can get rid of these numbers. Okay, so that's the way I did it, you guys. You can do it the way that you like, but try to always use the power of the computer. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, so now we're going to just make this look a little bit better. So what I'll do is I'm going to start off by selecting right through to column D, so that's B, C and D, and we're going to make some borders around that. I'm going to go all borders, and that looks good. And then I'm going to these labels here, I'm going to put a background on them, so they're just going to be a grey colour. I think I'm going to align it to the right, those numbers. That's going to look a little bit better. And then we still need a margin in on the right hand side, so I can use this indentation here just to bring them back a fraction. Now, are you guys able to... You can't. Okay, there we go. You can now see my mouse clicks. Right, so that's looking good. I'm going to just make the same background on these number A and B, and then in number A we're going to, I want a random number, so we're going to use a worksheet function. So go equals rand, and we're going to use that rand between there. So I'll select that, push tab, and then it asks me what the bottom number is going to be. We're going to make the bottom number 1, and the top number will be 10. And then we'll close it with the bracket, and that's given us a random number between 1 and 10. And I'm going to do the same with B, so we'll just drag that down, and actually that's just coincidence, it's given us both 7. Okay, so that's what you guys should have. Now, the next thing is I want to show you how we can use named cells, which is really useful and makes it a lot easier for us. But first of all, before I do that, I think we're going to need to have a button on our worksheet so that we can run the code when we do write it. So we'll start by putting a button on. So we're going to go insert, make sure you use an ActiveX control, and we'll click that first one there, which is the button, and I'm going to draw it on the bottom. Now, whenever we put an object on the page, it should be named properly. So right click on it and go to properties, and you should end up with this this showing here, and it's not going to go any wider for me. Okay, that's interesting. It looks like that little mouse thing's getting in the way. Okay, right, so that doesn't matter. The first property is always going to be the name, and so we're going to name this button a sensible name. And so what you want to do is always start the name with what the object is. So in this case it's a button, so we're going to go BTN, just short for button, and this is going to run our code, nothing special, so we're just going to call it button run, and that will be good. And then we're going to come down to the caption. Now the caption is what you read there, so we're going to we'll just go run code. Okay, whenever you make a name for an object, you can't have any spaces in it, but with the caption we can. So I've got a space between the run and the code. Okay, now you've got a whole heap of other properties here that can be changed. Just for a little bit of fun, let's change the back color. So we'll click here. I'm going to click on palette, and we'll choose a nice yellow color. So there we go, we've got a nice yellow button. And you guys can change any of these others if you like, and see all the sorts of things that an object like a button can do. But I'm not going to bother. Okay, so let's get back to what I want to show you. I'm going to get rid of those properties now, we don't need those. I want to show you about named cells. Now previously, if we wanted to access this cell here, remember how we did it? I'm just going to open up Notepad, you don't need to do this. Remember, to access the cell here, we would go range, round brackets, double quotes, and then the cell here is cell C3. So we would go C3. Okay? Now, that's fine, that works, but we can use named cells. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to show you how we can do that. So if you click into this cell, and then click up here on the left hand side, not here in the formula bar, or formula, but up here, where it says C3, and we're going to name this cell number A. Okay, because it's got that label num A. Now because it's a name, we can't have any spaces, so it's just num A, and then once you push enter, that cell has now been named number A, and you can see that the C3 has disappeared. Okay, and we'll do the same for number B. Now I'm going to go number B and push enter. Okay, now I'm going to show you how we can use it. So we'll just use this bit of this button down here. We're going to double click the button, and that's going to put our first line of code in, which says when I click the button. In other words, button run. That's what we named it. So when we click button run, it's going to do everything between here and the end sub. So we'll make a bit of space. Okay, we're going to indent, and I'm going to go message box, and then double brackets. And what I want to do is I'm going to show you what is in this cell, just to show you that it's working. At the moment we've got the number 9 there, so we're going to go range, the brackets, quotes, and the name of the cell was number A. Okay, and that's what we've got. Now if you guys write that out and then go and click the button, first of all we need to take it off design mode, and then click our button. A message pops up saying the number 9. So what it's done is it's given us the value of what was in that cell. And so naming each cell makes it easier to work with, rather than using the address of the cell. Okay, right, that was a very simple example. You guys can, if you want to, you can do number B too if you like. But what I want you to do now is we're going to name all of these cells from step 1 down to step 10 exactly that. So I'm going to do the first one. I'll show you how to do it. We're going to call it step 1 and then push enter. We can't have any spaces. Step 2. Oops, I've done it wrong. We don't type it up there, we type it up here. Step 2. Now there is no shortcut to this. It's just the question of going through each one and typing it out. Make sure that you get your numbers right. Step 5. Step 6. Step 7. Step 8. Step 9. Oops, I've done it wrong again. Step 9 and step 10. There you go. Right, I'm just going to check that they're all correct. Yep, looking good. Okay, right, you guys, when you have done that, we'll carry on with the next part. Okay, so the next part for you is what I want to do here is to put your instructions into these cells as to what you're going to do, and they're all back in the Word document. So we're going to go down and just pull that up so I can get to my Word document. So what I want, these are all the steps along here that we're going to put in. Now there's an easy way to do this and there's a hard way. So if you just watch me, I'm going to show you the easy way. So first of all, we need to select those steps from there to there. And now we need to get rid of this numbering, because we don't want that, we only want this part. So now you'll see that the numbering for me is not highlighted, but if I click it, it is now highlighted, and then I click it again, I've removed it, but I've still got all those lines selected. So now we can copy it, and I'll just put that Word document down, go back to Excel, click in the first cell next to step 1, column D, and paste. And this is not good. Okay, so now we've got Excel all set up. There's just one more thing we need to do, and so what we'll do is we'll go back into our Word document, and what we might do is we'll get those steps back up. So I'm just going to go Control Z, and that's looking good. Now I actually want to select all of that, so we'll copy that now, and this time we're going to go into the code, and in between where our code is going to run after we click the button, we'll get rid of that message box line, and then we're going to paste in all that we got from Word. And these are going to be all your comments in your code. So what you need to do now is to turn them into comments. So that means putting a little comma thing right at the beginning. So do each line just like I've done. There is one line in the center that we came across before. We'll leave that. And the final step now is to indent these. Okay, because they're all inside this private sub. The sub starts there, finishes down there. Okay, we're nearly there. What I want you to do now, you guys, is put 2 spaces, 2 blank lines between each of these comments. And I take a moment. Right, okay, so what's going to happen, you guys, now is that these comments are going to tell you what you need to do. And remember, these comments are exactly the same as what's in this this here. So this is going to tell you what to do. So I'm going to go back here, and we're going to do the first task for you, or little challenge. And it says basically it says is, but what's going to happen is into here, which remember is our step 1 cell, is going to be the number A multiplied by 2. So there's number A. So we need to write some code in order to get our answer here. In other words, 2 times 2 is going to be 4. Okay, so I'm going to do that for you, and you're going to find out that after it's done there's going to be a little issue, and I'm going to show you how to fix that. So we'll go back to our code. Whoops, that's not what we want. Go back to the code here. Okay, so here's our instruction. Number A is to be multiplied by 2. So we'll write the code straight under the comment, and then we're going to have a blank line there, which is going to help with our presentation, make it easier to read, and just generally look better. Okay, so let's start. So we're going to be putting into our range of step 1. So step 1. So that's where we want our answer to go. So we put our equals down. Now remember, the equals always puts whatever is on the right hand side, and it transfers it over to the left hand side. So whatever is on the right hand side of our equals is now going to go into there. So what we want is number A multiplied by 2. So it's really quite simple. We just type range quotes, and then it's number A and multiplied by 2. Okay, and that's going to give us the answer. So there's our first part done. You guys are going to have to do all of this, but first of all I want to show you a problem that we're going to have and how we're going to fix it. So here we go. When I click this button, it should say 2 times 2 multiplied by 2 is going to be 4. So we'll click the button and great, it's put the answer 4 in. Unfortunately, we've got a problem because this is now changed from 2 to 1, because what's happened is Excel has now calculated a new random number, and so it's not really working very well. So I'm going to show you it again. So we click it, and this time it says 2 because last time it was 1. 1 times 2 is 2. When I click it again, it should say 14 here, because 7 times 2 is 14. So there we go. Unfortunately, that has changed. So we need to fix this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to fix it. We'll go back to the code. And what we need to do is we need to stop Excel. Once the code is run, we need to stop it calculating. So right down the bottom of our sub, we're going to write application dot calculation. Now this is the calculation you want here, not this one. There are several options. So we want the calculation. I'm going to double click that and then push equals, and when I push equals, these options are going to come up. So we're going to click on the manual and stop it automatically calculating. And now I'll go back and you'll see that it's going to work, but we've still got another problem which I'll show you how to fix that. So here we go. 6 times 2 should equal 12. Excellent. So that's exactly what we want. The problem is now if we run it again, it hasn't changed because we've stopped Excel calculating. So that's no good. So what we need to do is make another small change. Where are we? We need to go back to our code, and before we run this again, we're going to go up the top. We want Excel to actually make a calculation. So we're going to go application dot calc, and this time we're going to use the calculate, and that's all we need to do. We just tell it to calculate and then to run the code. Okay, so let's run it again. Run the code. There we go. 10 times 2 is 20. 6 times 2 is 12. So that's fixed the problem. I'll just quickly go back. I want to show you guys what we did then. So we told it to calculate the worksheet first. So it generated those random numbers. We are running this code, and then when it finished, we told it to stop calculating. Okay, we said the calculation was manual. And that means that after the values have been put in here, then it doesn't go back and recalculate those random numbers. Okay, so there it is, you guys. I've showed you how to do the first one, step 1. I want you to go through each of these steps here and put the answer to all of these problems into these cells here. So the next one's quite simple. It's just the answer here is number B plus 12. There you go, you guys. All the best. If you have any problems, try to work it out. Otherwise, I'm there to help you.